Can't have cars driving around the runway at Hopkins Airport, but right here, Cleveland police say in the wee hours of Sunday morning, a car rammed through a gate, left the gate completely demolished, and the I-team found the driver wasn't arrested until more than an hour later. Police finally hauled in Daniel Allen. His car, found smoking, crashed into a snowbank. A report shows the driver barreled through the fence at 2:52 a.m., but police didn't get called until 4:07 a.m., an hour and 15 minutes later. So how does someone end up crashing into that fence? To get here, you have to come all the way down to the end of a little side road. Well, the driver told police he'd been out with friends on a party bus. Said when he got back to his car, he circled the lot and couldn't find the exit. Take a ride with us. That driver made his way onto the airfield just on the other side of the NASA Glenn complex. Police believe that driver had been drinking, saying he didn't know where he was, got back into the car, and continued to try to drive off. Damage already repaired, but this leaves the I-team asking, how could anyone drive onto the airfield any time of day or night without someone noticing immediately? Cleveland City Hall not answering questions, saying only what happened is under investigation. Security gate smashed. Video just released to the I-team shows how a driver drove onto the airfield at Hopkins Airport, crashing into a restricted area. But the I-team revealed earlier, airport security had no clue. That driver not discovered until nearly an hour later, found by a private security guard after barreling out of the restricted area, far from where he'd gone inside.
I'm a guard over at the IX Center. This is the information I got. We got a guy crashed out over here.
A 911 recording now shows the driver discovered by chance, and even that happened with confusion.
He's apparently hammered drunk. We don't have a clue as to how he got in here. Nobody's come in all night.
And the city can't tell you everything that driver did around the airfield. The city did not capture video from runways or anywhere else in the restricted area. Just one view for a few seconds. The feds say the driver only spent 2.5 minutes there, but again, no one even knew what had happened. At the heart of this was no one at the airport monitoring security cameras, and what about police assigned to patrol there? The I-team has requested duty reports to find out how many officers were assigned to the airport at that time and what were they doing. The city sent us police records for the wrong time period and no urgency. City Hall says it could take 2 years to review this and decide on security changes. Last week, the airport director wouldn't answer questions. But you're the airport director.
You're absolutely right.
Right, so please answer the question.
Ed, we've said this before. Just because you want the question asked doesn't mean that I have to respond at this point.
A short video revealing more than City Hall.
He's on our side of the guardrail. We don't.
Wow, that's weird.
The I-team has found when this happened at Hopkins Airport, no alarms went off. Last month, a suspected drunk driver plowed through a fence, drove onto the airfield. We now have the airport operations log. It shows continuum indicated no alarms. And no one at the airport had any idea about the hole in this fence for 2 hours and 52 minutes. The damage discovered by chance. The log shows a maintenance employee arriving for morning shift reports damage.
I'm a guard over at the IX Center. This is the information I got. We got a guy crashed out over here.
We reported earlier a security guard called 911 for a driver crashed outside the IX Center. But the new records show no one at the airport tied that driver to this incident for hours, not until a worker found the damage by chance and police looked back at security video. New dispatch tapes also show airport police discussing the first call about that driver.
Okay, did they make contact with any airport company? No.
And we've uncovered new mystery surrounding where that driver left the secure area. No obvious damage to the airport fence for that. Multiple sources and new records indicate the car did drive through the fence a second time, but leaving, it appears the fence lifted up as the car drove out and then snapped back into place. The Transportation Security Administration tells the I-team the feds will look at all of this after getting a final report from the city. Yet listen to what the airport director recently told City Council.
TSA has said that we have lived up to our agreement. We did take the appropriate action, and there is no investigation on the airport.
The city not answering questions for the I-Team. The TSA says that driver only spent about 2 minutes in the secure area, but now that we've found no alarms went off and no one knew what had happened for hours, we won't settle for no explanation. Police video just released to the I-Team. Now you see what police saw the first time they got a look at a car crashed just outside Hopkins Airport. The video helps expose how an airport security breach went unnoticed for hours. Police at this scene had no clue that driver had first barreled through an airport fence, even onto the airfield hours earlier.
Now I'm going to ask you to do some field sobriety tests. Are you willing to take them?
I told you from the start, I'm not taking nothing.
Cleveland police arrested Daniel Allen. They concluded he was drunk, thought he simply went through a guardrail in a parking lot, crashed his car in a snowbank.
What happened?
Man, we was all on the party bus and everything, and go to pull out of here.
So you never came out on the roadway?
No.
It was all on the parking lot?
Yeah.
So when we got here, he was still trying to drive out of it. Looks like he almost blew the car up trying to do it. There's oil everywhere.
No mention at that scene of this. The I-Team revealed earlier this airport operations log showed no one at the airport had any idea about a big hole in the fence until nearly 3 hours after that driver had plowed through it. A maintenance worker found it. Ultimately, officers looked at security video and then tied what happened to that driver they had arrested.
Gate W2. Did you check and make sure the gate's still there?
Police radio traffic shows the security breach completely undetected until long after that driver crashed in the snow.
Your OBI guy did that. The car on video going through the gate.
Obviously, I got stuck. And that was already the obvious part.
The driver now has more to explain than he did at this scene, and the new video shows why airport security has more to explain about how a security breach went unnoticed.
Right now, you are under arrest.
The I-Team now revealing how no one noticed a car drove onto the airfield at Hopkins Airport. We have handwritten statements from airport workers and more. The internal investigation. Records show no one realized this had happened for nearly 3 hours. Yet the airport director recently denied that to us.
How is it that a car drives onto the airfield and no one notices at the airport for hours?
I don't think that's factual.
That's what happened.
February, a driver barreled through the fence. A maintenance worker finally reported the gate destroyed hours later. Meantime, 5 others had gone through a nearby turnstile, didn't report anything, and a police car had driven nearby, but, quote, turns around and departs. He does not go far enough. The I-Team reported earlier the crash also did not set off any alarms. Police tied this to a suspected drunk driver busted just outside the airport, but police didn't make a connection until long after the arrest when they looked back at security video.
What happened?
Man, we was all on the party bus and everything, and go to pull out of here.
The internal investigation also refers to possible discipline for workers not noticing what had happened. So we checked on that here at Cleveland City Hall. The city says in the end, no employees hit with any punishment. No supervisors, no one.
I don't know why you're avoiding the questions here.
I'm not avoiding the
You
question.
are avoiding the questions.
The airport director not talking, and a memo shows an official warned of writing emails about this, quote, creating public records. Another memo shows 2 years ago, the Transportation Security Administration offered to help protect this airport from vehicles used as weapons. The feds got no response. Ed Gallick, Fox 8, I-Team.